Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am starting to play the Red Dead Redemption 2 story. And yes, this is the very first time that I am actually playing the story. I've had the game for about a year now, but I've put it off quite a bit. Now, I'm not really sure how this series is going to work quite yet because this game is super damn long. If you guys have any suggestions on how to structure this series so it doesn't take 6 years to finish, please leave it in the comments. And with that, let's get into Red Dead Redemption 2. So the game begins with some fantastic shots of our crew. This is quite fascinating because I didn't know they had such high quality cameras back then. Anyways, after some conversation about how we would die if we didn't find shelter, we are introduced to our main character, Arthur Morgan. He says that he found some shelter for us, and so our little clan heads there. Once we arrive, we find this guy Davey has died, and so we put coins on his face. I mean, if I were them, I'd probably go full Donner Party and chow down, especially because they have little food, but I guess it's not for everyone. So after that, Arthur and this guy Dutch head out on their horses to go find where their two scouts, John and Micah, went. And I will say, it's a jarring difference going from Fast and Furious drifting through the town, hearing the roar of your car and getting into fiery wrecks, to casually trotting through the snow on a horse. As we ride through the snow, we eventually first encounter Micah, a greasy-haired Discord admin. He tells us that he found a lively house up ahead sounding like a party. Naturally feeling left out, we head to the frat party and it sounds like they're playing beer pong. Just in case, Arthur and Micah wait behind some cover while Dutch tries to get the attention and hopefully an invitation to the party. But as Dutch has a nice little conversation with the kind gentleman, Michael finds a fresh, nutritious body ready to eat just for us. But like I said, Arthur and his gang are not cannibals, so we shoot up the frat party. I also go as far as to kill this straggler out of my way. We find out that the boys we shot up were O'Driscolls. Now at this point in the game, we don't know much about them yet. I could just look them up and give you an in-detail description of them, but I think it's more fun if I just learn them as I play the game. All I really know about those damn O'Driscoll boys is that they're a feared gang, and I like to think that they're just a big biological family, and they only have children with one another. So as the O'Driscolls get bigger and more feared, they're also devolving from birth defects and turning more into ogres. But that's just my wholesome little fantasy. Anyways, as you see, we're looting their house for supplies. In there, I find some food, some jewelry, and $1.87. Oh yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit wealthy. After that, I'm sent to go search a barn. Inside, I find a horse, but a man falls out of the sky on top of me. Clearly, this little tactic didn't work for him because he didn't even try to hit me. After that, I interrogated him. I asked him where the leader of the O'Driscolls, Colm O'Driscoll, was. After beating on him a bit, he told me that he was at an old mining camp near a lake. After asking why he was there, he told me that he and the other O'Driscolls were fixing to rob a train. After getting the information out of him, I beat him unconscious and pick up my gun and hat. I then hear a screaming woman coming from the house, and when I went inside, I found Micah harassing a banshee. After Dutch defused the situation, we found that she was a victim of the O'Driscolls and that she was being kept in the cellar. We also found out that her name was Sadie Adler. So we head back to our little camp and we all get some sleep. The next day, Arthur finds the group having a conversation about how a man named John Marston is missing and hasn't been seen in 2 days. So Arthur and a guy named Javier go out searching for him. After a bit of riding, I get a little too close to the edge of this cliff and my horse annihilates me, putting me in my place. So we find this dead horse and Javier shoots it in the air, seeing if John will answer. We luckily hear him shouting out to us and we find him. And he looks just fantastic. But as we're walking, we see some wolves up ahead. After kicking one of the wolves in the ass, killing him, and shooting the others in the head, the situation diffused rather quickly. I then do some burnouts on my horse and we ride away. We encountered a few more wolves along the way, but we made it back to camp. After that, some random old dude tells Arthur that once the weather clears up, they would be heading east. This does not sit well with Arthur because he says,
"East, into all that. That's civilization!"
as if it was Voldemort he was talking about. So the next day, I actually get to walk around the camp, and I head to a guy named Bill. Once I'm in there, I find the boys having a tense conversation where Micah riles them up and even punches one of them. I'm gonna say it, Micah's kind of an asshole. I just hope that at the end of the day, the boys can overcome their differences and unite. So after that little fight, Dutch comes in and tells us that we will be going to that mining town where Colm O'Driscoll was. So on the way, we find that Dutch killed Colm's brother, and because of that, Colm killed Dutch's girlfriend, Annabelle. So they are both a little bit angry at each other. And after that, we find the mining town. So we head down from our vantage point down to the action. I then take my shot at one of the O'Driscolls and a huge gunfight breaks out. And I will say, the gunfights in this game are very fun. Also, we win the gunfight because we're awesome, and I loot a bunch of their bodies. After that, a few waves of reinforcements showed up, and we pretty much take care of them. I then search through this house and find some dynamite that the O'Driscolls were planning on using for the train robbery. But unfortunately, Colm O'Driscoll turned out not to be at the camp, but we got some dynamite and the plan for a train robbery. So basically, we bamboozled the O'Driscolls pretty damn hard. As we're riding back to camp, we find an O'Driscoll riding up ahead. I take my lasso and drag him through the snow a bit just to give him frostbite before I tie him up. I then hog-tied him and put him on my horse, commencing my very first kidnapping. Yeah, this will be one for my what I did this winter secret diary. Anyways, I ride back to camp as the man pleads to me, desperate for his life. Not gonna lie, it makes my cold, sadistic heart feel warm and fuzzy inside. I then find a man named Mr. Pearson who tells Arthur about their low food supply situation. So after some conversation, Arthur and a guy named Charles set out hunting. I'm given a bow with 22 arrows because Charles says that if we shoot a gun, the minions and the Smurfs will jump from the trees and eat our heads. So it's probably best that we use a bow. And eventually, as we ride 6 total seconds from camp, we find some deer tracks and then a deer. And look at this superb aiming right here. Also, what I really enjoy is how if you have your bow up for longer than 8 milliseconds, you about die from exhaustion. Makes for some great hunting. Besides all that, I'm eventually able to kill 2 deer, and without the help of Charles. He kind of just told me exactly what to do the entire time. Well, Charles, if you're such a fucking genius on hunting, then why don't you do it your own damn self? So after riding and chatting about our foot fetishes, we see a bear up ahead. Charles tells me to wait and see if there's another way around, and I of course don't follow his instructions. It's a bear, what do you expect me to do? Not shoot at it? So I shoot him, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, a total of 11 times, and a few of those were in the head. But I guess bears are just invincible. Makes sense. After that encounter, we get back to camp and give our deer to Pearson, and our food situation is magically solved. So we get a short time jump of a few days, and Arthur is talking to John when Dutch walks in. He tells Arthur that it was time for the train robbery. Now you might be wondering why we're robbing this train in the first place. Well, the train is owned by a man named Leviticus Cornwall, who's a huge railway magnate, big rich guy on the railway system. Basically, the group is very poor because they had to leave Blackwater in a hurry, and everything they own is there. So they figure that Cornwall has enough shit, and he can share some of his assets. So the group's plan was to steal some of the stuff off the train and make a little bit of dough so they can fund their escape to the east. At least that's how I interpreted it. I might get some things wrong here and there from time to time, but just bear with me. Anyways, enough of that boring explaining shit. It's time to rob a train, boys. So we get to the railway and we see Bill setting up some dynamite. I went down to check on him, but when I saw the dynamite, I just couldn't help myself.
To said detonator.
But next time around, I take the detonator and set it up. I then head up back to the group and we put our masks on because of, you know, COVID-18 99. And here's the train. It comes screeching down the railway and Bill sets up for the epic explosion. And now!
Shit, no, what? God! Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
Well, that was anticlimactic. So we have to react quickly and we run down to the tracks and hop on just in time. As I'm running to the front of the train, this guy comes out of nowhere and starts shooting me. I mean, now that I'm looking at the footage, he was obviously there, but I swear that guy was blending in with his surroundings. I kind of just kicked him off the train, which is pretty funny. I then shoot up the rest of the people on the train and get to the final big boss, the train engineer. Yeah, he was quite the opponent. Some more guys show up for no reason, and as I'm shooting them, Lenny dies. I mean, I probably should have helped him, but I guess I didn't know that Lenny was such a bitch. So next time around, I take out the rest of the dudes, and our group catches up to us. So we want to break into the train, but there's people in there that won't let us. We try to negotiate with them for about 30 seconds, but just give up and blow the damn thing open. Remember kids, if you have any problems in life at all, just remember that explosions are always an option. So these 3 dudes come out, and some of us head inside the train car. After looting the train, I found a fat $25 and some bonds. I'm then left to deal with the 3 dudes that were in the train car, and I spare them because I'm not all about that senseless killing. The next day is the day that the group decides to leave their camp and actually into a town called Valentine. After we get a minute of some epic drone shots, the snow magically fades away. After a wheel breaks off, I fall behind a bit, but we catch up with the rest of the group at a new camp they set up. And that is chapter 1 of Red Dead Redemption 2 completed. Thank you for watching this video, guys, and welcome welcome to my new series. If you have any feedback, as always, leave it in the comments. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.